Hi, I'm Anita. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how to do a herringbone wire wrapped ring. What you need for today's tutorial is a ring mandrel for sizing, a ruler, and I also have a wooden mandrel to help pound out and make your ring smooth and so that it's got a round shape to it. And then I have a rubber mallet. And then for tools, I've got a couple of pairs of flat nose pliers, nylon pliers, and a pair of wire cutters. You're going to need 20 gauge wire. I'm using this, it's a silver plated brass or copper. And you also need 26 gauge. And this is a silver plated copper wire. And I'm using a 6mm bicone crystal. That's a Capri Blue. So here's a sneak peek of what we're making today. Let's see if you can see that. I'll bring that up close. That's the herringbone pattern. And that's your 26 gauge wire with the 6mm bicone crystal in the center. And then the base of the ring is 20 gauge wire. So let me get my area cleared and we'll get started. All right, the first thing that you need to do, depending on the size of the ring that you want, you need to cut a piece of your 20 gauge wire. I'm aiming to do a size 6 to 6.5 ring today, so I'm going to cut about 10 inches length of my wire. And that will give you a ring size anywhere from 5, 6, 7, up to 8 or 9 inches for your ring. So now that I have my piece of 20 gauge wire cut, I'm going to smooth it out with my nylon pliers. So if you have any kinks or bends, the nylon pliers comes in handy for that. So I just run that over just to kind of smooth it out. And then we can go ahead and get started. So what I'm going to do, the first thing I need to do is I need to get my 26 gauge wire. And I'm going to work off the spool because I don't really know how much I need. So that's my recommendation, is just work off the spool. And so what I'm going to do is start by taking my 26 gauge wire and I'm going to come about halfway down where my wire is. That'll be about 5 inches down or so. So I'm just going to kind of do a mental mark right here of where I need to start. So I'm going to take my 26 gauge wire and overlap it, and I'm going to turn it around the 20 gauge wire a couple of times. So there's once and there's twice, like that. So what I'm going to do now is kind of push this together. So I'm going to take my flat nose pliers and just kind of squish this together so my loops are nice and neat. You can see that. I'm trying to get my camera to focus. So two to three loops is good enough. So from here I'm going to go ahead and snip off that end because that's anchored pretty good. So from here, I'm going to take make sure I'm at my halfway mark, and I'm going to take my crystal, and I'm going to slip that onto my 20 gauge wire, like that. So I'm going to just anchor it right next to where we have the anchored beginning here, and you're going to take your wire and bring that under your bicone like that, and then you're going to wrap over once and have your wire coming up at the top. Now you're going to flip this around and you're going to wrap again right at that bottom edge, and you're going to bring that right next to where you started. And you're going to wrap it so that your wire is coming up at the top. So we're going to do that again. Rotate. and bring the wire underneath the wire of where you started, like that, and wrap. Turn it and repeat. Bring your wire under the first wire, wrap it, and you're going to continue wrapping until you have the bottom of the stone is no longer showing. So far I've done 2 wraps, so I'm going to keep going. That's 3. And I want to try to do the same number of wraps on each side. That's 4. I'm going to turn it. This is 5. And then this is 6. So that's what I have so far. I think I'm going to do another wrap because it's still sticking out a little bit. And I think that's pretty good. So from here I'm going to end this by wrapping it 2 more times. And I'm going to clip my wire right here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to shape this, and I want to bring this so that it's nice and close. So I'm just going to push that up with my flat nose to squish it together and just kind of smooth out that sharp edge by pushing down with your flat nose. And then the other side looks pretty good. I'm just going to gently shape that. Now I'm going to put this on my ring sizing mandrel, and I'm going to put it on a size 6. And it's probably going to end up being a 6.5 or a little more than that. So I'm going to put it just above the 6 on my measuring mandrel, and I'm going to bring my wires around. Just hold that with your fingers and just bring your wire around to the front, crisscross like this on the back. You don't want your wires crossing, you want them parallel like that. And then bring that to the front. And one's going to go over the top, and the other one's going to go on under the bottom like this. Nice and tight as you can make it. Bring that up like that, and then this one will come around the top and down. Now we're going to pull that off the sizing mandrel, and what we want to do at this point is we want to wrap this wire so that it's coming around and through the ring. So I'm going to take my flat nose pliers, my skinny ones, and I'm just going to bend this tip and pull it through. And you want it to come as close to the edge as you can. So I'm just pulling it, and now I'm going to flatten this a little bit. Now I'm going to go to the other side and do the same thing. Bend this and bring it through. Pull. Try to get that as close to the edge. And you want to also make sure your ring shank doesn't bunch up, so try to keep that flat. So now that I've got one wrap on each side, I'm going to repeat this a couple more times. So I'm going to bring this around, bend it, bring that through, and pull. Then do the other side. Pull that through. Try to keep that uniform. Now we're going to come through again. Notice how my shank turned a little bit, so I'm going to try to fix that. There we go. Flatten that out. Now I'm going to go to the other side. Bring that down and through. Flatten that out. And I'm going to come through one more time. So I've got 3 wraps on that side, and I want 3 wraps on this side, so I'm going to come through one more time. Pull that nice and snug, and bring that together if it slips away. And from here we're going to snip off these ends. So try to cut them to where they're near the top outside of your ring. And now I'm going to take one of my flat nose, try to squish that sharp edge down, and bring that together. See if we can get this to tuck in a little. There we go. Now I'm going to snip off this side, do the same thing, tuck in that small sharp edge. All right, so that's what we have for the base. Now we're going to shape this because it's kind of crooked. So this is where your wooden mandrel comes in nicely to do this. So we're going to slip this on the wooden mandrel. And I'm going to take my mallet and lightly tap. This actually came out, feels like it came out a little smaller, but we'll check the size and see what we ended up with. It's trial and error with these, trying to get the sizing down, and we'll see what we ended up with here. Let's fix my wire here so you can move it around if it covers your stone a little. So that's looking pretty good. Let's tap it just one more time. So as you're tapping this, after you do one side, you want to take it off, flip it over, and do it again. And let's see what that looks like. That looks pretty good. So let's check the size on this. And this ended up being much smaller. I've got a size 5 on this. So it's trial and error. You will have to experiment with this to get the sizing down. I've done a few of these and I'm still learning. But it came out pretty nice. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So let me get this on a form and I'll be right back. Alrighty, so here is our completed herringbone wire wrapped ring. Isn't that just beautiful? And that didn't take very long to make. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you for joining me today. If you're not a subscriber, I hope that you do subscribe and hit that notification bell so that when I upload new videos, you can check them out. And thanks to those of you who have subscribed, liked, and commented on my videos. I really appreciate your return visits. I have a website where I sell my own jewelry. It's called Bead Creations by Anita-768558.square.site. There's a link to my website in the description box if you'd like to check out some of these rings. Keep an eye out for periodic sales and some great deals. Have a wonderful week and happy beading, everyone. See you next time.